Hey guys, Saga here, and today's video is going to be about Mei on Hanamura. As part of a video that's coming up where I talk about how to beat the SR system as a solo queuer, and some of the really consistent strategies that you can use and some of the more consistent characters you can pick that will sway whether or not a game's going to go in your favor or not. This strategy with Mei is one of my most solid picks. I usually don't play Mei in other things, not because I think she's a bad character for other maps, but because I choose characters that are more consistent across the board to deal with more situations. Because you really never know what you're going to get in solo queue, both on your team and on the other team. However, Hanamura is such a good map for Mei that it just couldn't be ignored. This particular strategy I was first privy to when I saw Seagull do it, kind of. I say kind of because it's on his solo queue account, and as a result of it being on his solo queue account, it's not like it's a good team versus a good team and this is a strategy that works. He's not playing super serious, and that's really evident in some of the positions he takes and some of the shots he goes for. But hey, when your aim's that good, you get away with stuff like that, right? So I'm going to explain to you this strategy in two ways. We're going to use some footage from the game that showed me how to do the strategy, and then we're going to talk about the safer way to do it. The reason I feel the need to teach the safer way is because you're adults, or you're not adults, you're teenagers, or whatever age group you are. You're intelligent is what I'm saying. And as a result, you're going to use your own discretion to determine whether or not you want to play fast and loose with this strategy, or if you want to play safe. But by showing you the safest version, I can show you the most consistent way to do this without putting your team in danger and without putting yourself in danger. Now, if you want to take this knowledge of where the safer places are to stand and instead stand in a more dangerous place, that's obviously up to you. But I'm going to show you how to do this strategy right. Alright, let's get into it. So before I talk about the whole map strategy and everything that goes into defending it, let's first talk about how I think about Mei. Mei is basically a combination of three characters, 3 or 4. So I think of her in StarCraft terms as either a supply depot or a sentry. Sentry is probably more accurate, so let's stick with that. But basically, the enemy team is a series of Zerglings trying to get into your base, and your job is to break them down to bite-sized chunks so that your team can digest them easily without getting any indigestion. Was that just a edible Zergling analogy? It makes sense. So basically, you decide when to bring up the door. Now, the other important one for this video is Gandalf.
Go back to the shadow. You shall not pass!
Occasionally, Mei just needs to say, "None shall pass," and lock everybody out. This is good when your team needs extra time, when people are running back from spawn, when your team is not yet ready, or the enemy team has just dropped a major ult, like there's a nano boost right outside the door and you can keep them out. Immediately drop your wall, say "None shall pass," keep them out by time. Mei's ult also serves this dual purpose of space control. The third character Mei is Rorschach.
None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
You're locked in here with me.
However, for our purposes this video, we're not going to talk about her psychopathic tendencies. It's unimportant. Okay, so this is the clip where I first saw Seagull pull off this defense. When I witnessed this the first time, I thought, my god, his Mei is entirely what controlled that match. And it's really true, like, Mei can control this map for you. It's not just Seagull, it's not just that he's amazing, it's that on this map, you can easily control the map just by being a good Mei.
Freeze him from above! Oh, he tilted it up. This is a pretty good window to play in. I'm just so obnoxious to them. What? Oh, peace, dude.
So you'll notice Seagull takes this position here. This position's a good one to fight from, however, it's definitely more offensive in nature than defensive, and oftentimes mentalities like that can get us into trouble, right? When you're on defense, you want to keep in mind your life is worth more than an offensive life. So the people on offense can be more reckless with their lives, and you need to be more conservative with yours. Seagull is disregarding this largely because this is his solo queue account and because he probably outclasses everyone in the game, or rather everyone in this game. Okay, so you'll notice in the clip that Seagull is playing this position. He's up here on this wall. He's using it to shoot shots at the attacking team, and then if somebody tries to push him at this door, he can ice wall it, right? And can defend this window. The cool thing about this position is it gives you a certain amount of flexibility. You get to do damage, and damage is valuable. You get to block this window in the event they try to push the window, and then over here at the door, if they go for a main push, you can still hit the main door with an ice wall. Now the problems about this position come from the enemy team shooting at you. So say if the enemy team has something like a skilled Hanzo or a skilled McCree, you're putting yourself in jeopardy by being here. You're easily visible to anyone who really wants to look for you. You might get hit by like a random Junkrat grenade or something. It's a position that you need to pay a lot of attention to, presumably have some decent healing, and yes, you can sustain yourself with Ice Block, but Ice Block's kind of like a last-ditch thing. If you use it too early and then somebody decides to attack you, you'll get caught with your pants down and one of your major cooldowns still cooling down. Remember too that there may be certain compositions where this is an appropriate place to be, where you have some time to realize, hey, I'm dying, and then Ice Block or retreat and buy yourself some time so that healers can get you up. Whereas there are other compositions that just won't buy you that time. Like if they have an enemy Hanzo, you might want to just not be there, right? If Junkrat is spamming that choke, it's really easy to get hit by 2 grenades, one after the other. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons where you wouldn't want to be in a position where they can hit you. But once again, I trust you, use your best discretion. So I want you to keep in mind that even with all of this window play, he's not jumping down. This is important because jumping down can get you in situations where you just can't get back. If they have an enemy Mei, she can block you out. If they just sit on top of you while you ice block, you're probably not getting out of there alive. If you're going to play the window position, make sure that you put yourself in a place where when you are damaged, you can retreat and either seek healing, seek health packs, or just don't die, right? Not dying is very important on defense.
Are they all going up top, or are they? Fuck it. They're all dead.
Okay, so right here they break through the wall, and what he does is he retreats to the upper high ground and starts shooting icicles down. This is a smart move. You're not giving up high ground advantage. And I think his immediate assumption is that they're going to push center. They decide to all go right, and then he chases them, but if it was a center push, he would have just remained there on the high ground shooting down at them. The high ground is almost always an advantageous position. There are very few situations where you don't want to be above your opponent. The safer way to play this position is right here.
Appreciate it, man. Shit, did I miss the wall? Oh, we still got it. Still got it. I'm just gonna wall that off preemptively. I don't want him to get screwed.
I think triple tank.
Good play.
Now right here offers you a certain amount of flexibility. You can peek out for shots on anyone standing on the left-hand side without overexposing yourself. You can set up your ice wall nice and evenly. And the nice thing about this position is it also lets you use your left click in order to slow down people who are coming in. So you can stand over here, start to freeze somebody as they come. You might even be able to deter them from coming in just by shooting your left click. Now remember, your job as Mei is to be that sentry or that supply depot and just consistently lift the door, only letting 1 or 2 of them in at a time. That way you get to bisect the enemy team and just deal with them in small groups. Now the weakness to this position is that you can get flanked from this window. So when making this defensive arrangement, you need somebody up on this platform defending, which usually most defensive arrangements have somebody up there anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But if no one's paying attention to that window, somebody sneaky could come in through the top and could take care of you opening the door for everyone else, or at least force ice block. The third position that I think is viable for Mei is right here. This allows you to attack the other side, to peek on the enemy team as they're coming. You can also kind of deter them from coming. You're not quite as close with this, and then you can obviously still land your ice wall. The fourth notable position is here. This is a bit of an interesting one as it does give you high ground. It does make landing your ice wall a bit harder because there's no perfect angle, set maybe like there, to get a clean wall. So you have the advantage of being on high ground, but you lose the closeness to the door, and now your left click is no longer viable to slow people. The benefit to this position, though, is you're safe and you are able to guard window, which is nice. Okay, so now let's talk about Objective B. So Objective B, with Mei, I like to set up over here. But really, there's 3 locations I like to rotate between, depending on where the enemy's attacking and where I think I would be best placed. Up here is great, actually, because they have to, if they're doing a front door approach, you're pretty much can see them coming in. You can shoot down on them, and then once enough people are through, you can close the door, jump down behind them, and clean them up. So sometimes I'll set up here, I'll shoot some shots at the enemy team. I'm mostly watching this right side, see if anyone's coming through, if I can head them off. And I'm also paying attention to the left. So I'm like kind of positioned here, taking shots off, waiting for them to push in. Once they start to push in, my mode changes, so assume it's a front door push. I run over here. I shoot at them as they come in, and once 1 or 2 are in, I ice wall the rest out, jump down, finish those 2, rejoin my group. Then I come back around once we've stopped the push. You can also play over here at this window. This is especially good if you assume a left side push. If your team is up here to meet the left side push, you can actually just block them out here. Cut them in 2, remove 1 or 2 people.
Here I come.
Look up left again.
Look at the size of that
My
thing!
ultimate is charged.
Get him.
Oh, excuse.
Freeze him! Just freeze him on cooldown! They're all frozen, 2 seconds. Go. Oh my god! The Diva Bomb from Bit back, dude!
If your teams meet over here, you can also do it at this doorway.
I'm on fire. Serves you right.
This area right here is a very flexible spot for Mei as well. You get to watch this back door. You can handle anyone who comes through. But the cool thing about this spot is it lets you still ice wall the front. So if 2 people run in, you can immediately ice wall them out. Now the third and final spot I like to set up Mei is up here. So this position lets you set up from afar, lets you do some damage, lets you watch the sides and this area with the ability to jump down. And the nice thing again, you can always shut the door. So the key to any Mei strategy is just being able to shut the door and lock out 2 people. As long as you can do that, as long as you can cut their team into smaller, more digestible chunks, I say 2, but really like cutting them in half and having a 6v3 is awesome for you. Just removing people from the fight is what matters. Mei on Hanamura is almost always your most valuable asset. Even if you're not getting the plays of the game, know that you bisecting the enemy team is what's winning you the game. The best thing about it too is that in between your ice walls, when your cooldowns are down, most of the time you have your ult up and you're able to throw an ult to buy time for your next ice wall. She's a very flexible character that deals with a lot of people in a really great kind of way and allows your team to both have the time they need and to do the damage that they need to in order to turn a fight that might be relatively even far into their favor. The best part about this strategy is where it might not be foolproof, it doesn't require you to be a mechanical genius. You don't need to land constant headshots or anything. You could be that Mei that relies on their left click to icicle in order to kill people and still do this strategy perfectly. So where it does require skill to execute, it's not something that you need to be a great player to do. It's something you need to pay attention to do. It's something that you need to practice to get right, but it is definitely something anyone can do. By the way, guys, if you're new here, I make Overwatch content and Hearthstone content. I vlog, I travel the world, I do all kinds of things. There's gonna be some short movies coming out and some other very different kinds of content coming out of this channel soon. So stay tuned for that and subscribe if you haven't already. I also highly recommend that you guys come and check out what wait means in Overwatch. It's a very important video where I explain the concept of actually waiting for your group and what that means in the context of a match. It's simple, it takes a minute, and it might just make you a better player. Also, if you guys are looking to view another guide, I just made Numbani Objective A Defense Guide. You can check that out here. Or if you'd rather hear me speculate about the future, I made 1v1, 3v3, the future of competitive, and how that relates to World of Warcraft. It's going to be something that's very relatable if you've played WoW, and hopefully something that's interesting if you hadn't. See you next time.
5.
Get him! I feel like I killed a teammate. He said nice wall. I mean, it was worth. Got him.